All right, perfect. We are live on today's SEM Watch webinar. My name is Viola. I have with me Craig and Robert, and I'm going to take a few minutes to get settled into the space, allow you guys to log in, get to know each other in the chat. Feel free to say hello and let us know where you are and where you're tuning in from. And then we basically will kick off shortly. And today's webinar is part of a series that we call Engineers versus Marketers. And I consider myself definitely more on the marketing, content marketing side of things. I like the psychology of working with customers. I like the psychology of sales and marketing and on building communities and all these things. But being in the SEO space, I get to know a lot of very technical people. I get to know a lot of people that are very engineering focused, that are very interested in the Google algorithm. And so we thought it would be fun to compare our worldviews. We want to see what kind of conclusions do engineers and technical people draw? What kind of conclusions do marketing people draw? And where do we meet or not meet in the middle? And today I have with me Robert and Greg. So I want to give a quick introduction of the two. We have Craig Campbell, who has over 18 years of experience in the digital marketing industry and who has started as a freelancer, then became agency owner and affiliate marketer. And his main focus is training as well as consultancy and his own SEO projects. And then the second speaker that we have is Robert, who is an expert with 16 years of experience in SEO and affiliate. And he has ranked for simple keywords such as payday loans in UK and in the US. And you can see that he's a talent SEO with that. And he has a master degree of electrical engineering from the Krakow University of Technology. And they are the two that are going to help us navigate the mystical wonderland of content versus links. And we want to talk about links and what are they and why do they matter and why do some people love them, why do some people hate them, and how can we maybe marry the content people and the link people together. So welcome to the show, guys. Nice to have you on. Thank you for everyone being on. I see people from Vancouver, Canada, Poland, Germany, Pakistan, India, Brazil. I see San Antonio, Texas, more Canada, Madrid, England. Beautiful. Yeah. So basically, the idea of this webinar series, Engineers versus Marketers, is that we basically have a two-dimensional system in which someone is either an engineer or a marketer, and someone is either more on the content side of things or more on the link side of things. So to kick off today's webinar, I would like to ask you guys, Robert and Greg, where do you sit on those two scales and why?
Bobby, you can go first.
Thanks for that, man. I think that I'm more like algorithm boy. And as my degree, I'm more like Craig, SEO engineer, link building engineer. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think that I understand what's going on and how Google works. So I want to present some slides about it and give some nuggets.
Nice. Welcome. Greg, how about you? Where do you sit on the scale and why?
So for me, I would used to say I previously was very obsessed with links, but I've become more of a marketer rather than focused on one thing. As you evolve or, the more experience you've got, sometimes you say, right, there's only so much time you can spend being a specialist or an engineer or whatever you want to call it in link building or, in content, or you're maybe the tech guy or whatever it's going to be. And I think as this industry is getting more and more complex and things are changing, people are niching down. And I think for me, I'd rather be an overall marketer that understands the basic concepts of them. And then, because we all know that outsourcing work and working smarter is the only way you're going to have the ability to scale. So I cannot afford to be, one focus. I want to be more of a marketer. So understanding how they all pull together, I think, is where I'm probably at just now.
Perfect. Yeah. And just to give you some of my personal background, I also run an SEO agency. And as I said, very much consider myself a marketer and probably more on the content side of things. links for me often have the flavor of the ugly stepchild, and I'm very much more about someone who loves producing relevant, good quality content. And then the question is always like, how do we distribute that? How do we get links? And how do we actually make it rank? So to kick off this conversation, Robert is going to take over and explain to us a little bit about links and why do they matter in the Google algorithm, what makes a link a good link, and why should we care?
Sure, just the water and take off. Okay, perfect. Guys. Screen sharing.
All right, yeah, your screen is on.
You see my slides?
Yep.
Okay, guys, so today I'm going to show you what's in the background of Google, how Google algorithms actually works, and how to take advantage of it. So there's only two main algorithms in link building. First one is this little badass penguin. So it's better to describe it like this because it's not good algorithm. And second one is the PageRank. It's highly connected with link juice. Okay, guys. So let's imagine the internet, the connection between websites. So the bullets are the websites, and they are linking to each other. And in the latest Google PageRank patent, Google describes some websites as a seeds. For example, it's Wikipedia or other news outlets like BBC, New York Times, Huffington Post, etc. Okay, guys, and it's possible to assign which one is a seed and which is not, and this bullets around is British representation of seed websites, and in the center are websites connected directly to seeds, and we can outreach to them or even drop catch these domains because it's for drop catching purpose. So back to the graph, and a few years ago, Penguin comes into play, and Penguin is devaluating the spammy sites, and at the end, it removes it from the link graph. And it called optimized link graph, and we only go for this graph, this website to get links from, and only this website move a needle. Yeah, and at the end we have a link juice. Link juice could be, let's say, power of link, weight of link, and let's change the bullets to the glasses, and let's say. Seed websites have the strongest link juice, and it pass it through whole internet, whole connection, whole graph, and put the weights to it. Yeah, and for example, let's talk about link juice as an internal situation on our website. So in most cases, we have the most links linking to our homepage, and it pass link juice through the structure. And as an example, let's say it's BBC category 1, 2, 3, and so on, and our, let's say, guest post or link somewhere in the middle of nowhere or deep in the structure. And as categories or homepage have a lot of link juice, our guest post will get only a little, let's say. And there is some problems with link juice. It's not infinite. So it's, let's say, 100 unit or something, and it's splitting through the internet, through the website structure. And the problem nowadays is lack of link juice. To describe it better, let's imagine good party, and first one and second one, yeah. Which is better for, let's say, most of SEO hustlers, I think, that one. And it's same with links, that we are going only for juicy one, and we want to move a needle and get as much power as possible from it. Yeah, and have some tips for you guys to describe it or even validate which one is good one or which is not. So first one is link ratio, and it's a good idea to measure incoming links to outgoing links. And if the ratio is positive, it could pass a juice and move a needle. But in many cases nowadays, the ratio is negative, and for sure we don't get as much juice as we need to move position up. The second thing is traffic, but the traffic, it's not connected to any link building algorithms. It's just a proof. If websites have a decent traffic, we can be pretty sure that it will pass the juice and move website up. And golden nugget for me, link juice is same all over the world. So we can take advantage of internal link building. For example, the biggest Romanian news outlets or television cost around €100, and we can get links from website with, let's say, 1 million traffic and domain rating like 90. Yeah. And one more thing, which is for some time, is link toxicity. So not everything links can move a needle, but some of them can tank your keywords down. So be careful, you have to test it. It's a fresh thing in Google algorithm, but yeah, it's highly connected to link building. And yeah, it's all for me. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Right, I like this. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of a background information in terms of why we're caring about links. And I actually want to kick off the discussion with one of the comments out of the channel where we have the question is like, what would you invest more in, quality content or quality links? So I'll give this question to you guys. Greg, what do you think?
I think, to be honest, I hate saying this word, it depends, but it depends on where you are with the project. So if someone comes to me and you see there's a lot of, if you don't have a keyword, if you don't have a page targeting a keyword, you can't rank. You need content, end of story. Now, if someone comes to me with a website that's heavy on content, then I would focus like 70% on links and, maybe 30% on just, drip feeding more content on. But sometimes some people come to you and they've already got a fairly decent backlink profile, but no content. So the first 3 or 4 months might be fully content focused, and then you would adjust your budget accordingly. So I don't want to say 50-50 or, 70-30 or whatever. The cost of links costs more than money, more than content. Let's put it that way. So if I had $100,000 and, I was in a competitive niche, what would I spend in content? I would probably spend 30 or 40 grand on content and, more on links, only because a link, is going to take more time, or the cost per link acquisition is going to be far higher than it would be for a bit of content. So it's not a straightforward question as such, where you can say 50-50 or 60-40 or anything like that.
Right. Agreed. What are your thoughts on that, Robert?
So I think there's only two strategy for scaling. One is horizontal, second one is vertical. And horizontal is the content. So if we have a lot of content, we have a lot of keywords. That's it. If you want to cover whole niche, whole, let's say, country semantic, we are investing in content, we are getting more keywords, and there's also something like topical authority. So if we cover whole semantic or just a whole topic, it's better for Google. Google will give us some bonus, let's say. And the second strategy is vertical. So vertical is just about links. Yeah. If you have more better links, you are going up, and it's highly connected. So if you don't have a content, you don't have a keyword. If you don't have a keyword, you don't have a ranking. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, someone in the comments asked, "Can you be ranking with links only and no content?" And I feel that we all agree is if you want to be successful with SEO, you kind of have to wrap your head around the concept that you will have to have a page for a keyword. Like if there's certain keyword, or not specific keyword, let's say keyword cluster, or family of synonyms and variations, and you want to be ranking for that, the first step is getting a good, relevant, focused page up, and then building links to it. So to answer that question, could you, if you have a website that is one page and only has links, probably, there's only so well that this can do, and there's only so many keywords that you can rank that one page for. Actually, I want to throw something in, and I'm curious in your opinion as well. It's like the way I like to think about links is very much like Greg said, which is like, what are the factors that we're most deficient in? And if we're really deficient in links, then obviously, we should be pushing really hard for that. And if we're really deficient in content, we need to push really hard to level it up. But we always try to grow it like somewhat equally, like over time. And obviously, if you get a client website that is somewhat unbalanced, I try to match basically the quality of the links with the quality of the content, or the other way around, and then try to move on somewhat equally. Is that a strategy that you guys would agree with?
Personally, yeah, I think 100%. It's common sense, to look at it in that way. And, as I say, there's so many keywords out there that you can go after. People build, one big long form post or a pillar post or whatever you want to call it. There's so many supporting articles that you can have that will pull in all of those variations of keywords. So there's no point in denying that you can't just shove up a 10-page website and forget about the content. There is so much opportunity out there. You go from ranking for 100 keywords, you want to rank for, 500, 1,000, and you look at any successful website out there, they don't have 10 pages. They have outrageous amount of pages. And that is only possible, as I say, with content. So for me, it's always just getting that balance. I do it every month myself. I release X amount of blog posts. I release X amount of, or I acquire X amount of links. So yeah, that exactly as you describe is what I would be doing.
Yeah, and if you have a lot of content, you can take advantage of, let's say, internal linking and sticking keywords, the perfect sticking keyword to sub pages, and leverage your results at the end.
So if we all agree that links really, really matter, right? And there's no way around it, and we really need to build them, and it's a crucial ranking factor, as we just learned, right? If there's no powerful links, if there's no link juice, like nothing's going to happen, and we might still get stuck, even though we wrote the perfect piece of content.
Yeah, Viola, even Ferrari won't go without the gasoline. So links are gasoline, just simple as it.
I love that metaphor. Exactly right. And so I think what I saw in the comments was a funny term, which was called link bagging. And I think we all know what that means, or at least I have an idea what that means, which is if you're a website owner, you tend to get a lot of emails from a lot of people asking for a link. And some of them are quite nice. Some of them are quite cheap. There's basically everything and anything between a super automated, full of typos, random, unfitting message to a very specifically handcrafted pitch, to have a guest post on your website. So my first question to both of you, that you're both good with links and interested in it, is would you say that outreach still works?
Yeah, 100. Well, yes and no. Now, outreach, of course, still does work, and there's people out there who have massive amounts of success with outreach. However, it depends on those minute details when you're doing the outreach. The way that it's written, it's not just, hey, mister, can I give you $50 and give me a link on your website and all that stuff. There is I'm not a guy who specializes in outreach, but I'm well aware of people who have techniques and ways to do it. And, of course, the stats out there, if you send a generic outreach campaign to 1,000 people, you'll get a very small amount of people. I think it's the follow-up sequence and what's said in that stuff that helps increase those conversions when it comes to, doing outreach. And I think, I know guest blog guys who, link vendors and all that kind of stuff, and they're all doing outreach in the background, and it's all about systemizing it, the process, and actually what is in that outreach. You can't have some buckshy, begging for a link, and someone mentioned link begging in the comments. I love that word. You have to be better than that. Or you have to basically spark someone's interest. If I read an email and someone's going, "Oh yeah, doing it gets deleted," say something catchy, like catch my attention. Whatever you can do is what I would be looking for in terms of giving it a response.
Nice. What are your thoughts on outreach and whether it's still worthwhile to do that?
So in Poland, it works a bit different because in Poland we have a lot of huge, let's say, content marketing on link building platforms where we are just logging and buying for peanuts, biggest Polish news outlets, TV station, etc. So in Poland it's a bit different. So there is no link bagging in Poland. But in my opinion, outreach as any other link building tactics still works. And if you are outreaching and sending mails, it's fine. If you are building PBNs, it's perfectly fine. If you are, I don't know, spreading content on Twitter and getting links, why not? Links works, man.
So I want to talk a little bit of some of the more edgy questions that people asked in the comments, obviously like paying for links, government sites, what is a good link, etc. But before that, I want to kind of like frame the conversation in the sense like, no matter what link building strategy you do use, what are the criteria for your prospects? Like, how do you choose the websites that you want to get links from? Do you choose that by topic of relevance, by their overall domain strength, by their amount of organic traffic? What are the criteria that make a worthwhile prospect for you?
So, Bobby,
go, Craig. Come on.
So for me, I have a couple of different ways of looking at it. Well, not a couple of different ways, a couple of things I'm looking for. Now, one of them is traffic going to the website. Obviously, you want to future-proof your business. There's an argument out there as to what is relevance and how relevant do you have to be, but I'm going to put that to the side just now. What I want is to future-proof my business. So one, I'm looking for relevance. Two, I'm looking for that website to have real rankings. And three, I want that website, obviously with the rankings, it's going to have traffic. But also I'm looking for things like DR or DA or whatever metric you choose to use. But these things can be manipulated, and I can show examples of this stuff as well. Like I can make a domain name a DR40 in the space of 25 days, by building some Google stacks. Now, that doesn't mean that link's going to pass the juice that, every other DR40 or whatever's going to pass. So all of that stuff can be faked, which is why I'm looking for multiple things. I want a link from a real website that has real traffic and rankings, but also one last little thing I look for is the amount of outbound links that website's got. I don't want to be on a website that's got 100,000 other outbound links. The juice that's going to pass to me it's just not worth having. Right. So that is the kind of 4 or 5 different things that I'm looking for, as to what's a good link.
And can I quickly jump in and ask, what makes a website relevant in your eyes?
So, relevant is, if I'm in the SEO industry, I would consider anything tech-related, computer-related, web design, all of that kind of stuff. I know people will say only go for, super relevance, like just SEO sites.
Yeah.
That isn't the way I see it. It's kind of got to be loosely relevant. I'll go quite far. I'm not obviously going to get a link from a butcher or a florist or something like that, which has absolutely nothing to do with what I do. But anything that's slightly related, I think, will still pass, that mark. And I think I had a chat with Matt Diggity yesterday, via another friend, and the question was, what do you go for? What works best, relevance or power? And obviously, Matt Diggity has worked with outrageous amounts of links over the years. He still believes at the moment, power, that's what he goes for. So everyone's got a different opinion on that. But I think in terms of future-proofing your business, I think, that relevance factor is going to kick in if it hasn't already, then it's probably going to kick in even more so over the coming months and years. So that's the way I would look at it.
Thank you. How do you choose websites that you want links from?
I've forgotten one more thing on my slides. In this PageRank patent, there is one more thing. Google measure the distance between seed website to your website. And in my opinion, there is only 3 stages of SEO project, 3 periods. First one is sandbox. Second one, let's say pre-authority and then authority. And depending on the stage, let's say for the first stage, I'm trying to get links close to the seed website to build perfect foundation and, let's say, fly under Google radar before I get into this authority mode, let's say authority period or whatever. And after 1 year, I'm going strict for power. So like link building, so PBNs and everything which push the needle. And about the relevancy, I have a question. For instance, we have a BBC. What's the main topic of BBC? And if BBC push a needle or not?
I mean, of course, BBC moves the needle. What I would say on that argument is if the article's relevant, obviously it's a news website, and if the article's about SEO, I want that link. I think that would pass more juice. But obviously, a BBC link is going to pass juice anyway. So, but I think if you're talking about generic other websites, you would want to at least make the article relevant to you, even if it's just like a generic business website or, a news site, if you like. I think, making that article relevant would be more beneficial than not. That's just my opinion. I don't want an SEO link on a flower page. If someone was just doing a link insertion, I'd be saying make sure it's on something that's semi-related to what I'm doing.
Yeah, in my opinion, text surrounding the link on Anchor, the relevance is only here, but the whole website, topical relevancy doesn't matter.
So this is where I'm just going to raise my opinion just for the sake of the argument here is basically, if you look at it from a content marketing perspective and you're looking where you want to distribute your content, it's like, I think there's probably a point to be made. If you're looking for leads, if you're looking for customers, you probably also want your links, your infographics, your resources, and your guest posts to distribute on websites that you have a chance of meeting your lead or customer on. So that's kind of like my pseudo-scientific way of thinking about it is like, is this website like closely enough related that my customer could be on there? And then maybe they could be on, marketing articles on the BBC, but they probably wouldn't be on the Flower website, at least not in a professional context in which I'm trying to position my website. A few questions from the chat. How do you find, what are your thoughts on toxicity and how do you avoid like bad website and bad neighborhood to get links from? And then also, what is your thoughts about websites that have been penalized or websites that are not doing well? How do you basically avoid the black sheep? How do you make sure you're not getting any links from any websites that are toxic or poor performing or spammy? Someone in the casino niche was saying there's a lot of trash out there, obviously. So how do you basically, we know what we want. How do we avoid what we don't want? And what is it that we don't want?
Yeah, so if we are outreaching or making guest posts, it's hard to say. It's a good way to look on traffic, look how website behave in Google algorithm dates. If it's fine, it could be fine also for our website, and also we can check other website which has links from this one, and if it's perfectly fine, it's good. And for PBNs, I do let's say single variable test. For example, I put some links and check for 1 or 2 months if the website is going down or up. If it's going up, I'm sure that everything is fine and I can link to my money site. And if it's going down, it's something wrong, and I want to link to my my money site, and yeah, it's my way.
I mean, mine's is probably similar to Bobby's there, where if I'm going to get a PBN or an expired domain name, for example, one of the first things I do is repurpose that website, put up the old content on all the old URLs. That will then give me a clue as to whether Google likes that website, if the rankings recover. And then I can play about and, maybe build a few links and see what happens. Probably 2 or 3 months down the line, I'll make a decision whether I'm going to make that a PBN, a money website, or do a 301 redirect. That's just my process with it. But as the casino guy says, and as he probably knows, there's that many expired domain names or whatever that are out there that have been literally burnt to death by SEO people. SEO people break shit and burn it to death and blow it all up. So, I'm always testing. So that's why I always have the process of put it up, see if the rankings can recover, see what happens with it, and then I would consider pointing that to a money site or redirecting it or repurposing it or whatever it was going to be.
Yeah, same here.
So this is maybe a good segue. So I want to ask you guys, what are the link building techniques that you are using? And as we dive into this, I would appreciate if one of you can quickly explain the word PBN and what it is, just that we have everyone on the webinar on board about how we dove into this conversation.
Yeah, it's private blog network. It's important, guys. private blog network. Yeah.
PBN, private blog network. Do not buy a PBN from a guy who's selling to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there, because that is a public blog network, which is not what you want and likely to get slammed. So
maybe basically the idea is that you find old websites, you find expired domains that already have, some authority, some power, and you rebuild the website and you use them for your private backlink purposes. And obviously the major advantage is that you control those websites and you can do with them what you want to do. And in that sense, it's maybe more technically precise than a guest post outreach strategy can be. There's a lot of debate on whether or not you should be doing this, etc. That maybe it's not like, I don't know, you guys can maybe explain why you chose that as a link building strategy and what are the reasons for you. But maybe as a next step that's logical is like, tell us the link building techniques that you guys are using and also why you think they're the best ones.
So listen, people are going to have debate. I don't think anyone can debate whether links work or not. Now, a guy that says PBNs don't work is likely to be a guy that left loads of footprints and got his fingers burnt. He's going to say, that PBNs don't work. Now, what you don't want to do is build your whole business around PBNs or guest posts or whatever the hell's working. So for me, in terms of a backlink strategy, the first thing I'll do is build some citations, get some directory links, build up a little bit of power, some relevance, whatever. Then I'll go and get some guest blog posts that are maybe very powerful, not so much relevant. So that would be my next step. Next step after that is I'm going to power up those guest blog posts with tier 2 links, whether that's niche edits, automation, or whatever it's going to be. Now, people say, "Oh, is that risky?" I'm not powering up my own website with automation. I'm powering up the guest posts, which power my website up. So there's no risk, no danger. And people that say these tactics or these strategies don't work or they're dangerous or whatever, our job as link builders or SEO guys is to build a structure that's safe, sound, and there for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So after you do that, what you want to do is maybe do some PR outreach, broken link building. There's so many different things you can do. Then you can get some expired domain names, some PBNs. You can do some outreach. And what you want to eventually have is have a whole bunch of links pointing to your website that are fairly relevant, that come from, some top PR websites, some of your own private PBNs, some of the best guest posts that no one else has actually got yet. And obviously, in terms of citations, directories and stuff like that, you can do that. Over and above that, there's other ways where you can trick people into giving you links and a whole bunch of other stuff. And, you know, and one last thing I want to say on this, you know, out with the strategy is Curtis Killen saying in the chat there, I thought Google announced a while ago that guest links don't provide juice. You know, what Google want and what they publicly release. Now, you have to use your own mind about this. I'm not trying to preach, but Google will tell you whatever they want. They want to herd the sheep out there. The 80% of you who are shit scared to build links, they want you guys to believe whatever they say. Now, Google are saying, you know, mark guest posts as sponsored post and all that. What Google are basically saying to the sheep is, you tell us what you dirty dogs are doing in terms of guest posting, and we will penalise you for it. You know, that's you falling into that Google trap. Whereas any smart guy who's thinking outside the box, who's trying to avoid leaving footprints and try to build what is a natural, solid backlink profile whilst doing what works is what works. Forget about what Google say. You know, Google are employed. If Google were to say to you, come here and, you know, directories are the best thing since sliced bread, everyone, including Bobby, Viola, and everyone else is just going to run for directories. They cannot afford to say what works, and that's why they throw all these clangers out there. That's what John Mueller's job is to throw everyone off the scent. And only those small people who try and test their own stuff are those that are successful, in my opinion, anyway. So,
yeah. And Craig, there is one more thing which I think is an important one, that if we use, let's say, rel sponsored, rel UGC, or this OWL file, this OWL tool, we are teaching Google machine learning models, and at the end, and I think it's already happened, that Google will auto-assign, which is no follow, which is do follow, because we are giving them this information, believing in what they say.
I like what you said, Greg, there about basically what you're saying is you want a diversified backlink profile, right?
Yeah.
You don't want
just one backlink.
With what?
Diversify with perfect foundation.
Exactly. And I think, like, what I always tell my clients is I do strictly the guest post, digital PR type of like route broken links. I never do PBNs for clients, but what I still tell clients is, as much as we're an SEO doing link building, we don't want to be looking like an SEO doing link building. We want to have a naturally looking backlink profile, and that means, there are going to be some citations in there. There's going to be some no-follow links. You know, there's going to be some, I don't know, like Reddit comments or anything like that. But what we're basically trying to do is like use different link building strategies across the board, and then have something very diversified and something strong, and then strategically use some high power links or some to go to specific pages that we're interested in, or some things that we want to be moving. But for me, that's one of the main things is we want to keep it looking natural, and we don't want to leave the footprint of like backlink building all over there. And I suppose, at least for me personally, it makes me feel a bit more comfortable in the sense like it does. And I think I said this to you guys in the briefing, is like the backlink topic is somehow something that only SEOs love. I think SEOs love to talk about backlinks and love to talk about broken links and PBNs and guest post outreach. And some people asked about Wikipedia and government sites and directory and which ones matter. And I think these are debates that we as SEOs really like, because we want the best fuel and we want to go our sites to go. But my experience is that marketing managers, content marketers, business owners, like most people don't really have the same passion for it, right? They just want the rankings, but they don't want to have all the work that comes with link building. So I wanted to ask, how do you guys deal with the work of link building? Like, do you work with other agencies or service providers? Do you have a team that works on that for you? How do you deal with the workload? Because one thing that makes links more expensive is how much resources and time you need to put into it.
So I'm going to say something slightly outrageous here, and then I'll let Bobby maybe tell us a bit about his actual techniques. Now, I don't think link building's that hard. I think, one, it's sometimes about who you know rather than what you know. So, you don't have to be super skilled or whatever. I think you have to build a network of people. So if I need some Polish links, which I was looking at a few months ago, I contacted Bobby and I said, Bobby, who do I go to for this? Who's the guy in this niche, that I'm looking for? And he'll give me the answer. So, I'll use vendors, friends, my network of people. I've got, some of my own assets. And, you just know where to go and where to, who's the guy to buy from. And I actually released a video yesterday on my own YouTube channel, and it was saying, avoid the middleman. And that's what we do when we're networking and we're all friends. We know that, this guy over here is the go-to guy for, this particular thing. Whereas the general public don't, and they end up getting their fingers burnt, because I get emails every day saying, I can get you a link on something like apnews.com. And I'll say, how much? And they'll say 500 quid. Now, if I go and put apnews.com guest post into people per hour, I can buy it myself for $160. So there's middlemen who are selling crap out there who are just middlemen. So I think networking and finding out who the vendors are, who the real guys are, not the guy who's selling for, there's a chain of people, I think is, understanding who's doing what in the industry is a key part. Of course, you've got teams who do outreach. You've got teams who, do guest posts or whatever. And Bobby can obviously give his opinion on that. But basically, I've got a shopping list and I'll just go and buy. Job done. End of. Yeah. Bobby.
I'll let you go and answer to this, and then I want to talk about
in Poland it's fucking easy because we have big platforms for it. So just log in, put your credit card, and that's it. But I think if you are going for PBNs, you have to build it in-house, choose domain right on your own, and that's it.
So here's the question is, again, I think I'm very much on the other end of the spectrum. I do basically, I gain a lot of momentum for my clients with visual PR, help a reporter out, doing that kind of thing, which is more the idea of being on big business and technology website with a post about the certain topic and then linking to my client's website. That's one of the strategies that I use very much to gain momentum. It gives you maybe branded anchor text, and you can't be like super precise necessarily in where the link is pointing to, but it starts giving you momentum and starts giving the website momentum. And then I do more of the guest post strategy next to that. Now, you guys said a few things. You said shopping lists, you said buying, like what is going on? Is this something that we're talking about? I know that if you're in an American conference, you can never talk about this. You guys brought it up. So how does paying for links come into play, and how do you future-proof your business? And is there anything risky about the paying for links strategy, or what do we need to know about it? How do we need to think about this?
Can I be clear from the get-go? Now, obviously, we're having a conversation here, and I don't mind telling people, I buy a link here and I buy a link there. We're not telling Google we're buying links. So whether I get a guest post on some Polish website because, Robert's had access to it or whatever, Google can't see that transaction. Google don't know, unless I'm stupid enough or Bobby's stupid enough to put in this is sponsored content, then who's going to know? So we all know that you can go here, there, and everywhere to buy a guest blog post, and you simply pay the guy. You simply say to the guy, here's $1,000, give me 10 links or whatever it's going to be, whatever his prices are, and I want this, and this is my anchors. Job done. Now, there's no footprint. Google cannot see that PayPal payment or whatever. And as I say, I'm not always saying you have to pay. You can exchange content, or I could say to Bobby, I need 10 links in the finance niche. I know you work in the finance niche. Can you give me them? I don't want to pay you any money, Bobby, because this is a personal favor, but I can give you 10 links from this other website. So you don't always have to exchange cash. You can also exchange other things or content or, whatever it may be. But in terms of guest posts, there's so many people out there selling that stuff that you basically just go and put card details in, job done.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, everybody pays for it. One pays directly for links, other pays, let's say, our time costs.
Right, but one other argument, one other thing I want to throw out there. See if I was to go to an agency out there. Now I'm talking about some of the biggest white hat agencies, and I pay them $5,000 a month to do my SEO. Someone in that agency, 100% is paying for my link building. They are going out and doing the exact same thing. So do not be under any illusion that this doesn't happen across the board. The whitest of white hat guys are doing exactly this. So I just wanted to get that point across. Sorry, Bobby.
So I have, what are you guys' thoughts? Here, Ken in the comments, he's talking that some of his websites got slapped in the past, and that might be the Penguin update, or it might be a manual penalty. What are your thoughts around algorithm updates, being slapped for your backlinks, manual penalties? Have you occurred it? Is this a common issue? Is this something that we should be worried about?
Not if you diversify everything.
Yeah, but the first thing is if we are penalized or our links have been devaluated. It's two different situations, but if we are penalized or manual action, it's strict and simple. And if our links are devaluated, and so they don't pass the power, and maybe, you have to check it. Where is the problem? But there's so many things are around the algorithm, especially now.
Yeah. But obviously guys like Ken may have suffered. Now, I'm not saying this is the case, hypothetical, but back when Penguin and all that kind of stuff came out, people were taking the piss. Like, rather than build 100 links with GSA or whatever it was going to be, they were literally leaving GSA on all month, and it was, creating 50,000 links. Of course, that stuff's going to get you a slap. What you said, Viola, at the earlier on, it's about keeping it looking natural, regardless of what strategy you use. You can cut corners and buy a guest post here and there and all that stuff. You cannot go and build 3,000 links overnight, especially if you've not done anything for the last 6 months. So it's important to not do that. And it's those guys that do that, the crazy figures that end up getting slapped by updates like Penguin back in the day, when they were basically buying a ton, just outrageous, because links was a volume game back then prior to the update.
And I think this is crucial, and I want to talk about a couple of things here. It's like, if you haven't done any link building, especially like you say, Ken, for 8 years, like, don't go to Fiverr and Upwork and start buying like 500 links tomorrow. You want to ramp it up. You want to build momentum. You want to ease into it. And it would just be weird for a small website that hasn't gotten any attention, all of a sudden, have like 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 links coming in the next 2 months. Like, that would be a massive mistake. So even if no matter what strategy you choose, I think you should ramp it up and not go crazy. If you haven't built any links in 8 years, I don't think it would be good advice to go crazy tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something which is my dream, which is something that both Ken and also Vivian have been asking, which is, how about writing high quality content and waiting for links to come natural? Which this is what Google wants us to do, right? They want us to write the perfect answer. They want people to kind of like naturally distribute, share, and talk about the content and link to it. And this is how you make it to page one. And I have some thoughts on this that I want to share, but I want to let you guys go first and see where you're at.
So,
Greg, you're excited.
My mum, when I was a little boy, told me the tooth fairy was true. So every time a tooth fell out, I put it under the pillow, and I'm not sure if that happens everywhere else, and the tooth fairy would come and give you £1 or £5. I'm still waiting on the tooth fairy coming. It doesn't exist now. I'm only half joking, but when people say Google are going to reward good content and you're going to get all these links for putting up good content, it very rarely happens. Very rarely. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that someone like Viola, who has a content strategy, you don't get links. Of course you do. I gave away a free SEO course a couple of months ago, and the amount of free links I got for that was outrageous. Outrageous amounts of links. Now, If you think by creating a landing page, though, for something like Builders London is going to get you loads of natural links, then you are very, very wrong. So there's two different ways of writing good content and waiting for links to come. So if you're a roofer and you're writing all this content, you're probably going to be like me waiting in the tooth fairy. It doesn't exist. However, if it's done properly, and Viola does some PR pitch and says, or just make it newsworthy, people will link to it if it's funny or whatever. That's the difference. But in certain niches, that's really hard. How do you make people want to link to a roofer? A guy that's putting slates in your roof. There's nothing funny, nothing sexy, nothing is going to create a link to that. You have to just go and buy a guest post. End of fucking story. That's it. So that's my rant over.
I like the rant.
And the thing is that we live in 2020, and we have to adjust our strategy to our competitors. And let's say they have website which is, let's say, 5-6 years, and we have to adjust strategy, link building to our niche, and make that Google will takes us into account. Yeah, and then I think waiting for links, it's not a good strategy in 2020 because there's so many websites with perfect history. And
I tell you what I think is the unfair thing seems to me that the moment when people start to naturally link to you is once you're on position 1. Like once you're in position 1 and you're kind of like the easy resource that people like turn to, that's actually when sometimes you start getting natural links and the page starts accumulating more and more links. But other than that, more often than not, your page will not naturally get any links from just sitting there. And especially I think what you said, Greg, is very true. We want links to our sales pages, to our e-commerce category pages, to our product pages, and very little people are open to linking to that just like that. It's just not a very common scenario. But I think what you said with the free SEO resource is exactly right. Like if we have the opportunity to, have a free version of our tool of some sorts, if we have a newsworthy story, if we have something that's really worthwhile sharing, then it could be different. And then it could be something where we could actually get links to, but it will almost never be your sales page or your e-com category page that you ultimately want to be ranking. So I think that's where then maybe the more content or PR side comes into play, and you use this pages to collect some natural links, some shares, some people talking about it, and then internally link to your sales and money pages to profit from it. But yeah, I think your chance getting links to your sales page are pretty slim, especially if you're a roofer, I would assume.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give you guys a quick last question, and then I want to give you the opportunity to tell people where they can find you. But the last question is, I think we said engineers, SEOs, backlink fans, we love backlinks. And a lot of marketers, non-engineers, non-SEOs really struggle with them. So I was asking, it's like, is there one thing that you can think of that would make link building more appealing or sexy to the general public? Or how do non-SEOs make peace with the fact that link building is necessary?
I think making peace with link building is necessary is something I think you have to, because there's so much bad press and negativity about link building, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's not, and people have had their fingers burnt by previous SEOs who didn't do it properly. I think you've got to take the gamble first and foremost. When you see that gamble and you get that return on investment, that's when link building becomes sexy, or more interesting. You're like, whoa, what else can I do? Now, the reason it's sexy for us, like me or Bobby or whatever, we're competitive guys. We're competing against each other. We want to say to each other, I've got the BBC link, you don't. That's just our game internally, and that's why we're so passionate about it. But the general public don't, our clients don't give a toss whether you get a BBC link or not. They want that ROI. If they can spend $5,000 and make 105 grand as a result of your overall marketing campaign, not just link building, then the whole process becomes sexier and you become more enthusiastic. Now, I've bought affiliate websites, and this is where I get really enthusiastic with link building. They're content heavy. Someone's bust their backside, adding loads of content on there, and I see that as a sneaky, vulnerable. I'm looking at that as if that person's a vulnerable person, because I'm saying if I come in here and I spend $5,000 in links, that website's going to go boom way up there, and it does. And that's when you become super obsessed with link building and where's the best ones to buy, the cheapest place to buy, and that's when you start digging around. So, taking that gamble and doing it properly and speaking to the right guys and getting that return on investment, it becomes a lot more fun.
Exactly correct. Link building is not sexy at all, but the results are, and it's worth a try. And maybe at the beginning be gentle, but yeah, it's worth a try.
So I'll give you my sense on this. I think links were kind of like Google's brilliant ideas to, set themselves apart from like Yahoo and Bing, etc. This idea that when people talk more about a website, it needs to be a more relevant resource because more people are talking about it. And I think in digital marketing, somehow with some of the latest platforms, I think we kind of like YouTube comments. We kind of like Facebook likes. We kind of like Instagram hearts. But in many ways, building backlinks for SEO is the same like collecting hearts and likes and views on the social channel. So in that sense, I think it just becomes one of the crucial ranking factors in that specific algorithm. And I like you to see it as an opportunity to maybe engage with your audience or have some fun with it. I'm very much like you guys. I like gamification. I'm an ex-gamer, etc. I like to level up, and backlinks are an opportunity to level up. All right, guys, give us a quick... Where can we find you? What platforms are you on? Where can we talk to you? Where can we, learn more?
So for me, you can find me on my website, which is craigcampbellseo.com. You can find me on all social media channels as well. Facebook's probably the best. I'm on them all anyway. So just put in Craig Campbell SEO into any of them, and no doubt you'll find me.
So you can find me on social media. The best will be Facebook or LinkedIn. That's
perfect. You can find me on LinkedIn, probably best, Viola Eva. And talking about resources, just put out a free SEO textbook together with Suso Digital. So you can go to susodigital.com/textbook and may or may not link to it. It's actually not the goal. But if you want to study some more SEO, that's probably my best thing that I have out right now. So I think we officially have like 2 minutes left. So if we want to start to the dot, we sold Ken and hopefully a few other people into link building. Can you give me your 30 seconds? What is the fastest, most reliable way to start link building?
Broken link building.
Can you elaborate?
Put into any, just find broken links. Someone comes to you with a brand and they, are saying, I've done all this SEO before, blah, 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 blah. Go out and find broken links. You'll find tons of them out there. Put it in, go and do some research how to do broken link building and start taking advantage of those broken links. But if you tell a few porcupines, which means lies, you can actually claim other people's broken links as well and say, hey, look at this resource you're linking to that's dead. Why don't you link to my textbook guide, or whatever Viola's trying to promote there. That's another way to do it. But Bobby,
in my opinion, if you're not technical, the best way is go for guest posting, or if you have a decent budget, go for sponsoring something. Let's say open source software or something. Yeah, and it's quite easy to get juicy links. Let's say for $50. So it's the fastest way, in my opinion.
Perfect. And I will throw in there, sign up for Help a Reporter Out, make it your job to respond to 10 queries a day, and that should get you going as well. All right, perfect. Now we're really spot on in terms of like timing. We're at 59 and 19 seconds. So thank you so much, guys, Greg and Robert, for sharing your insight. And there is a second webinar on the series, Engineers versus Marketers, coming up on the 30th of July. Jonah Elderson is going to give a presentation, and we're going to have more heated discussions between the mindsets of marketers and engineers. So make sure to check it out. It's already up on Semrush. So save the date.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you.